Hi, all, Marco here, Christ of England, and today we need to talk about Islam. And I think Islam is one of the greatest threats to our country. We have ever growing and ever expanding Muslim population, and at the moment they are taking many positions of power. As you say, the former Scottish First Minister was a Muslim, the Mayor of London is a Muslim, the Mayor of Brighton is a Muslim, and there's a list that I've previously seen of Mayor of like Bradford, Blackburn, all these places where Muslims are becoming mayor. And you see, recently, the head of education, the head of Ofsted, is a Muslim. And to compound things, our king, the defender of the faith, of we're a Christian country, even he's starting to promote Islam. And it seems like Islam is somewhat taking over. They want to build mosques everywhere. We've got to have a mosque in the Lake District. They're shutting down churches to build mosques everywhere. And everybody's got to partake in Ramadan and all this weird stuff. And this is very dangerous times, because Islam is a dangerous religion and dangerous ideology. And essentially, Islam basically just copied Judaism and Christianity. Muhammad made the religion from there, but he wasn't a sound of mind individual. When you actually look through the stories, and essentially when he first had this revelation, at first he thought he was losing his mind, and he thought he was possessed by a demon, and he was like wanting to throw himself off a mountain. This is all in the Quran and the Hadiths. And then Angel Gabriel said to him, you need to marry the 6-year-old child. So he married a 6-year-old child, Aisha, consummated the marriage when she was 9. He had about 10 wives, and he was a warlord. And he flew to Mecca on a winged horse, but this is literal, they say, not metaphorical, it's literal. They believe all this stuff. And it's basically absolute nonsense. And Prophet Muhammad was not really a true spiritual master. I followed many spiritual masters, such as Jesus Christ, Gautama Buddha, a lot of the ones in Hinduism, the great sages such as Yogananda, and Alan Watts' philosophy. He studies all them. And once you see someone with the truth, it immediately resonates. And when you look at Prophet Muhammad, it's the opposite. So like in true spirituality, you're supposed to move away from the world and like try to overcome all your desires, and you're like, that's why you fast, and you refrain from sex. Whereas Prophet Muhammad was having wives and sex like nobody's business. And you're supposed to be peaceful and loving. Prophet Muhammad was spreading Islam by the sword. So Jesus said, you will know them by their fruits. And Prophet Muhammad's life did not bear fruits. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. I have to speak the truth, because Muslims, you are, if you're seeing this and you're a Muslim, you're a victim of being born into a death cult, essentially. And trust me, come to Christ. It's beautiful. You don't need to give up. I think a lot of Muslims are afraid because they think they give up on Islam, they give up on God. But no, you give up on Islam, come to Christ, you return to the true loving Father. And you'll be released of all that anger and hatred that you have, having to belong to a death cult. And, you know, the Jews and the Christians are the worst of creatures. And, you know, you fight the infidels. It's not of God, trust me. And back to the subject from England's point of view, is that this is why it's dangerous, because Islam essentially believes that they have to take over the world. So no matter what they say, they're here in the West to take over our countries. And they even admit it, like Muhammad Hijab and Billy Hussein have said, well, yes, you know, there's 3 stages of jihad. We do it peacefully. You know, we just pretend we're nice, friendly Muslims, but really we're going to take over. You know, once they're low in numbers, they're friendly Muslims. Once they get their numbers up, they'll start getting into politics, start push back a little, being a bit more aggressive. And then once they become a majority, which they want to do in 10, 20 years, then you'll see their true colours. Then they won't be as friendly, shall we say. And this has happened, like, we don't need to, this is not some kind of like panicking about it. It's happened in Israel with the Jews. It's happened in India with the Hindus. We've seen it recently in Kashmir. It's happened in Myanmar with the Buddhists. It's happened in Europe with the Christians and the secular. They can't get along with anybody because they're commanded to take over. They believe that they have the right to rule the world, and that Islam is the chosen religion. But Islam is not the chosen religion. And England, and I believe Europe and the world, belongs to Christ. And we need to make sure that this country is a country that follows Christ. You know, I'm not overly obsessed with Christianity, to be honest. I would do away with the Church of England and have the Christ of England. Because do you think the Church of England is going to stop Islam? I don't think so. They got a bunch of transgender and gay priests, and the Archbishop of Canterbury walking around saying he's depressed. You're supposed to be a man of Christ, and you're depressed. But the Christ of England, we can defeat Islam easy like nothing, because Christ is above all. Christ will be so good that even the Muslims will be converting and joining Christ, like Son of Hamas did, once they see the light. And we need to encourage them first to come and join Christ. With all Muslims who see this, I'm opening, as a man of Christ, know the true Father, my first hand is always a hand of friendship. But then if you're going to raise jihad, then we're going to have a Royal Rumble, baby. That's how it's going to be. But you're dealing with Christ of the Spirit and British Bulldogs, British Lions. It's not going to end well. So, as I say, be friends. We can be friends. Come to Christ. You know the true Father. It's going to be good. But you want a Royal Rumble? We'll have a Royal Rumble. Either way is good. You're not taking over the country. And if you do, we'll be going down with a fight. Okay? And that's pretty much it. I want people to understand in this country that Islam is a live threat. And most people are starting to wake up to this fact. But if you want to know more, I have another channel called Flesh to the Father. I'll put a link in the description. I have a playlist. I've done loads of videos on Islam, exposing Islam, all the lies, all the dangers that they have. There's probably like 15 to 20 videos, and how Muslims can come to Christ. So if you're a Muslim, go and check it out as well, because I encourage you to come to Christ. So I'll put a link to that. You'll learn loads about Islam in that playlist. I think it's a good playlist. And as I say, British people, we need to come to Christ, because the spirit of the nation, the physical, this country belongs to the English, but the spirit, it needs to belong to Christ. People's souls, like I belong to Christ. And we don't need to belong to liberalism and secularism and Islam and even Christianity. No, we belong to Christ, and in spirit and in truth, and to the true loving Father. That's what this country belongs. It gives us strength and love and power. And it gives us the spiritual light to overcome all our enemies, the globalists and the Islamists. Only Christ can defeat them. Forget about politics. Forget about going to the Church of England. Blind fools. We need to follow Christ, and he will lead us to victory in spirit. Okay, that's the point of my video today. I know some of it may not make sense, but if you stick with me, I think as time goes on, things will make more sense. And ultimately, we all agree that we need a spiritual revolution in this country, but it must be the spirit of Christ and of truth and of the love of the Father. So if you like what I'm saying, like the video, comment for the algorithm, share it with as many English people as you can, because Islam is a threat to our country and we need Christ. And if you're new, you like what I'm talking about, you want to come and help us at the Christ of England, all you need to do for now is subscribe, and we're just getting started. 20-year plan at least. Okay, I hope everybody is well. God bless. Goodbye.